We're joined by Privateer Baseball head coach Blake Dean. And Coach, obviously talking about this recruiting class that you guys have brought in. And first of all, just kind of you and the coaching staff and your overall goals on how you attack the recruiting going into this upcoming season.
Well, what our goal has always been to try to get a solid freshman class. That way we're not trying to turn the roster over every single year. That's a big thing for us. And this, honestly, is probably the first year that we've actually got to get a core of freshmen that we're pretty excited about, along with a couple of JUCO guys. But we really just kind of focused our attention to our high school guys with a high ceiling, a lot of projectability. Because we were, before all this COVID and Corona stuff, we were going to lose a lot of seniors and we were going to rebuild with freshmen. So now it's kind of a mix of everything. So, but that's what we went to do. We went out overall and just kind of get the best freshman class that we could.
And another thing as well, you really highlighted trying to recruit the state of Louisiana and trying to hit that hard as well. And 7 guys from this class from the state.
Yeah, I told people always ask, hey, we want you to recruit the state. And it's always been my goal to recruit the state. But I want the best players from the state. I just don't want guys that want to come there and that are left over. I want the best of the best. So we finally got some guys that I really think are top tier players in the state, and we're really excited about them.
And let's start talking about that class, obviously. But first of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about the versatility of some of these guys. You have guys that can play multiple positions. Of course, we saw it with Andrew Brotman, who you signed. There's a few other guys who are listed as two-way players as well. Matt Bartholomew, Tyler Pope, some other guys as well. But just talking about that versatility, and we've seen it with guys on this current roster, and of course, that's kind of been a highlight as well.
Yeah, nowadays you just can't go sign a first baseman, or you just can't go sign a center fielder. They got to be able to play multiple positions because, as we have seen this past year, we've had many guys go out with injuries. We're bouncing guys around. We're putting, Bratton had to play some first base from a catching standpoint. So, the more versatile you are, the more valuable you become, not only to yourself, but to the team, and that's that also on the mound as you saw Poche this year, who has basically been a position player, jumped on the mound and helped us tremendously this year. So, we like to have guys that are as athletic as possible, that can contribute in many facets because, again, it only makes us better and it only helps them get on the field as well.
You had a pitching staff that this year was really just trying to, find different roles for guys, and everybody seemed to step up in their own role. You're only going to be adding to that next year. So let's start talking about the pitchers, obviously, with talking about Josh Cerejo, Tyler LeBlanc, Patrick Apgar, Connor Massif, Kindred Atwood, Bo Blanchard, Jacob Mead, Tanner Young, just kind of the overall strengths of these guys and what they're going to bring to the table.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of all the guys coming in is our size, right? Size, we got guys, most of these pitchers are all over 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", Apgar is up to 6'7", so we got some guys with some size. Well, with size comes the option to grow, to get stronger. The ceilings are raised higher. So, right off the jump, that's what I immediately saw when we had these guys coming in on visits was their size. From there, we got a mixture of, again, JUCO guys. Well, you got Cerejo, California guy that we're projecting to come in and be a weekend starter for us. The guy's thrown very, very well out there. Upper 80s, low 90s guy, plus slider. So he's got the maturity. And again, he had the option to potentially go back to his JUCO for another year with everything that's going on this year. But we're going to get him for 3 years now. So he's going to come in here, be ready to go. He was excited. So, from a JUCO standpoint, I think he really helped us as a starting role. And then we got some, like you said, some young arms that are really, really good. I mean, you can go down through the list. LeBlanc was at one time at Lafayette commit. Stuff happened there, and so his ceiling has grown drastically. He was a kind of a mid-80s guy, and then he's been up to 91 over the past course of the last couple months. And a lefty can really, really pitch, good pitchability, ton of strikes, a guy that should be able to come in as a freshman and contribute. So, and again, going down the list, Apgar, New Jersey guy, 6'7", again, a body that, if you look at him in the face, he looks like he's 15 years old. So the ceiling is so high for him because he's just going to continue to mature, get better, get stronger, and be really, really good as we keep going. And then you got Mesa. Connor Mesa is a kid from Turlings Catholic. Again, a guy who, 6'3", righty, hasn't thrown a ton, pretty fresh arm. So, or again, the more and more we talk about these guys, you see the size, the freshness of the arms, the capability of what they're able to do. From, Atwood, one of Keegan Rich, a lefty, looks like a linebacker from Georgia. left-handed guy, throws bowling balls. Bo Blanchard, 6'5" freshman from Lorville over near Lafayette area. So he's already in the 90s. So a lot of guys that we're really excited about from that aspect. Jacob Mead, another JUCO arm. Tanner Young, another JUCO arm. So guys we're really excited about. And then Bartholomew, I hadn't even mentioned him, two-way guy like you were talking a while ago, the versatility. Been playing third base at Delgado, then Coach Sherman was actually using him as a closer role. So a lot of versatility on the mound. We're really excited about those guys.
And you mentioned about Bartholomew and Keegan Rich as well. Wanted to go back to him for a second because you talk about guys who could play multiple positions. Keegan, you mentioned about his abilities on the mound. At the plate, also slugged 484.
Yeah. Now, I personally have not seen the hit tool. I've heard about it. I heard he's got some pop. And like I said, when you see the kid, he looks like he ought to be playing linebacker at LSU. You know, big guy, strong, physical. Again, these guys are freshmen. That's what I keep telling myself. I've been so used to having junior college guys come in the past couple of years that I'm excited to have this freshman group because they're going to be more receptive. We can mold them into how we want them. And again, if we can keep this group together, I think they can do special things.
And going to another young man in Tyler Pope, who from Alexandria was only an all-district selection at 3 different positions: second base, pitcher, and shortstop, and also made all-region as a junior. Just talk a little bit about Pope.
So Tyler's a very versatile guy, right? Like you say, he can play everywhere. I've seen him pitch, I've seen him hit, and again, a good thing for us. And that's what I told him. I said, Coach, where do you see me playing? I don't know. You got the capability to play so many positions. He can hit. He's been doing well on the mound. Quiet guy, doesn't really say a ton, but his work ethic kind of outshines everything else. So again, the type guys that we want coming in as a group to move this program forward. And I think he's a guy, again, we'll kind of see. He could potentially do it with the bat. He could potentially do it on the mound. He's got the option to do both. So we'll figure that out when he gets here.
You're adding some youth and depth in the infield as well. Let's talk about those guys. We mentioned a little bit about Brotman, Travis Gober as well. Figures in that mix also. Vincent Sanchez, Jalen Cowan. Just talk a little bit about overall what you see with adding a depth with some of these guys in your infield.
I think we got some good versatility. You know, like you said, Sanchez, his brother played in the Southland Conference before. We're very excited about him, middle infielder. He can versatile, can play second, can play third, potentially short. So he's got the option to play anywhere. A very, very good baseball IQ. Swings the bat well. He's going to continue to grow in size. You know, so it reminds me of a young Caston Furr. So a guy that had some success last year. So look forward for him to do big things. And then, you know, like you said, you got guys like Cowan, Gober. You know, Gober's a big lefty stick. That's the type guy I like. Physical lefties. He can play first, potentially third, corner outfield spot. You know, so a guy that would, you know, hopefully hits in the middle of the order. And the same with Cowan. Cowan's a versatile guy, catcher, could play third, first, corner outfield spot. I actually saw him play in Atlanta. Saw him hit up there at a tournament, and I was very, very impressed. Physical kid. That's the key. Again, I keep going back to this. They're very physical. When you see this group, you're not going to think they're freshmen, but very physical guys.
One of the deepest positions that you had on this team this past season that was unfortunately shut down early was the catcher position, and you had guys that could bring different strengths to the table, and you're going to be adding to that in the form of Andrew Guidry coming up for next year.
Yeah, Guidry, another Louisiana guy, St. Thomas More. Again, a guy that, you know, a two-way guy. You know, typically in the past, we've either got a really offensive catcher or we've got a guy that can really receive. You know, so now we've got a guy as a coming in a freshman that's pretty good at both. You know, a guy that's, you got Bratton coming back. We obviously got Tejeda, Murph. You know, we got some catchers there, but this is going to be a good freshman to come in, have some older guys around him to help him kind of mold and see where things are at. Really hopefully makes that jump and can learn from these guys, but a guy in the future that hopefully, again, good catch, throw guy, and a good stick as well. So a combination of both what we want with a catcher.
Transitioning to the outfield, and I think one of the really highly touted guys as well that you guys were able to sign, Isaac Williams out of Alexandria, who you start listing the accolades and it'll go on for a while. First team All-State, All-District, was All-Central Louisiana MVP at Tioga, was also a Prep Baseball Report Super 60 invite. He hit 440 with 5 homers. and 11 doubles in 2019. Just talk a little bit about Isaac and what he brings.
Well, I think Isaac is one of the most underrated players in the state of Louisiana, quite frankly. Yeah, I mean, we've been on this kid forever. We've been on him, and we kind of got him before everything kind of blew up with him. I mean, he's going to these showcase events. He's running 6.5s. He's having exit velos of 100 plus. Not saying that translates to the home runs and things of that nature, but the bat speed is there, the athletic ability is there, the size is there. For his size and to run the way he does, it's impressive. I like his makeup. I know his dad very well. Got to know the family well. He's raised right way. He's raised very strict. He works extremely hard, very intelligent in the classroom. A guy to where, again, for me, he was kind of our first guy that anchored this class down, and then pieces started falling around him. So I've been excited about him since day one, excited him to get here and finally get to work with him.
And of course, we talk about these guys' exploits on the field, but it goes beyond that as well. And certainly you and your staff have done an excellent job of championing being strong in the classroom and being strong in the community as well. We saw, of course, with the baseball program and the athletic program as a whole, and how strong they were in the community among Division I and community service hours this past year.
Sure. We made it a big focus. Tim came in, our new athletic director came in and wanted to really make a stride to get out into the community more and do a little more outreach. So, I told our guys to say, it's time to go to work. We got to get out there and make sure we give back to our community, help each other out. I think at the end of the day, we were number 2 in Division I baseball behind, I think, maybe Louisville in community service hours through the Helper app. So these guys busted their tail. They enjoyed it. And then we mixed in some fun things as well. We went to a couple of music festivals and helped pick up and set, all that stuff, clean up. So they got to experience some New Orleans, some good food, get to give back to people. And again, once you get out there and do that, more people are more inclined to come help you and come out and support us as well. So I thought our guys did a great job in the community this past fall.
And of course, with the staff has really done a great job of over the years, especially since you've taken over as head coach, is getting some guys drafted. You've had a draft pick for the last 4 consecutive years now, and just talk about how that's played a role and helped in the recruiting process as well.
Well, again, when you're getting somebody consistently drafted every year, especially this past year, I think we're only maybe one of 2 teams in the Southland Conference with a guy that was drafted, if I saw that correctly. So it just shows that we're getting the quality players. We're getting guys that are we're working hard. They're excelling, and they're having opportunities to play at the next level. And that's what it's about. Our goal is to get them an education, get them to become better baseball players, better men, but set them up to have an opportunity to play at the next level. So again, when recruits come in, we can say, hey, consistently, we've had guys drafted almost every single year that we've been here, and we hope we continue to do that, and not just have 1 or 2. I'd like to have 3, 4, 5 guys drafted one year. So that's what we're striving to do, is continue to get better and to continue to put out the best baseball players we can.
Should be fun to watch this upcoming season. Coach Blake Dean, wanted to thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, buddy.